It took me 4 times to beat Simon Boss Shelby Cross. In the first, he simply shot me with a shotgun. In the third, I got very close to an exploding barrel. And the last, I threw dynamite at the bandit and dropped him electricity in a puddle of water. Also the battle, I was desperately running around the narrow cavern of an abandoned mine, changing weapons, twisting the map, and clinging to the odds. That's the wall of the Wild West. The immense theme from the legendary Ralph Colortino, so creator of iconic Dishonored. Wild West begins with you taking control of a bounty hunter whose son is murdered in front of her and her husband is taken away to be eaten at an unknown destination. This begins a chapter of revenge, one of 5 stories of different characters who over time turned out to be much closer than they first appear. But the spoilers already. Best of all, only one of these characters is an ordinary human, but they are monsters in different manufacturers. Weird, you bet, but that only makes it more interesting. Once you get a hang of the control and collect all sorts of crabs to sell a merchant, the most important thing will begin, a journey around the map. Such a rich map of the Wild West, filled with numerous points of interest, towns, farms, old streets, mines, wheelbarrows, bandits, and various mysteries. And if you go strictly by the plot, each of the chapters can easily be run for 5-6 hours, but is it necessary to do so? Obviously, it's not. If you ignore the side quests, you will be left without cool guns, run and guns quests, skilled partner shooters, and problems on your ass. Are you sure you need it? Meanwhile, the Wild West, like any open world game, reveals itself the moment you start looking around and exploring. And this is where the side of the game that captivated me from the first hour comes into play. In these basic trial mechanics, Wild West replicates the original Fallout, with fog, random events and moments that takes times. Combat isn't turn-based, but like any RPG, it requires action points. But you can trail the map, shoot from behind cover and drink water from kettle, recovering lost health. There are also a real drama behind the banana plot of each of the chapters, which ramps up from chapter to chapter. And in this component, Raphael Colantino showed himself to be a master of the genre. Weird, but I like it. On the other hand, there's not much to do outside of the plot. Kill bandits that are posted on test board, rescue farmers, go through things, find geocaches, and help good people. Or bad people, depends on your mood, because you can do anything. For a couple dozen trivial side quests, I found only a few interesting ones, involving a magic and mysterious talking statue, and another involving a simple NPC's past. That said, there's an understanding in some of the stories. For example, I returned some drink of the character for $60 for it, but got no answer to any of my questions. Or take one of the early mail missions. Mayor Galen Weeks has a secret in his basement, but knowing it is no ways allow you to influence him, blackmail him, or open additional dialogue option. It's just knowledge that leads further into the plot, full stop. And even attempting direct conflict and shooting won't unlock anything. It is if the basement you erased all your dialogue with that nasty character and set the point of communicating with him beforehand. Situation like this spoiled a bit very immersiveness the developers were talking about. No one influenced with my choices, but the feeling of a weekend slammed in my face or a sentence cut off halfway through remained. Very stuff, very weight. What else I not drawing a wall chart? Stuff is there and a necessary mechanic, but the AI behavior is depressing. You can walk a meter in front of your enemy's face, but his anxiety level will rise too slowly and he just wants nothing. All bounty hunts boil down and you going to a specific point and killing an enemy who is surrounded by a couple of other thugs. Looking for them is not particularly necessary, kill others too. Unique trophies from them do not fall out. I have seen 3 types of location, abandoned farm goes down, abandoned mine, the choice is so on. The reputation system works strategically. You can kill a dozen bandits, help a bunch of people, but everything collapses in zero if you eat someone else's corn or accidentally sat on someone else's horse. And whatever are for the choice, shut out or jail fine, the trust in the lost. The battles work just as a strategy. If you remember Divinity Origin Sin, many build battle tactics around properly placed barrels will affect and sequence explosions. It doesn't work here because in the high tempo of combat and the awakeness of moving these elements around. So more often than no barrels on the battlefield act as a problem or even a simple decorative element. There are issues with keyboard controls. I often took an extra from a bunch of different items, did the wrong action. The control are not perfect either, but I like them better. Wild West didn't forgive mistakes, and Wet West does. To whatever you encounter a human, a witch or some other strange fanatical creature that hammer end up in the middle of the prairie. It's a hardcore game that sets a good pace and make you move around the map during combat, and some tasks have a limited execution time, and here it's important to prioritize or think through a sequence of actions. Best of all, a variety of Wild West allow you to dive right in the final and to a vague choice that will lead to details and future not available the first time around, which means there are a couple of dozen more hours waiting for me a strange Wild West. To sum up, my experience of Wild West is a rich and atmospheric adventure in which the player is only held back by internal mock court or role wagering, and the rich map is fascinating plot are to able to draw them in the realm of the wall and ability of the strange Wild West filled with people, snouts, sirens, zombies, strange monsters, spirits and simple bandits who want simple human god. The latter against the backdrop of everything else correct.